Right, hello. Just going to do a quick overview of the Tarroka deck. Here's the high deck, 14 cards in that. And here's the low deck. The high deck is individually named cards like the High Arcana of a tarot deck, but the low deck has suits of cards like a regular set of playing cards. And you can find an analogue in the Curse of Strahd book, which I will be referring back to. The suits are glyphs, represented by this squiggly glyph symbol, stars represented by a pentacle, coins represented by this profile, shame it's not Strahd, and swords represented by swords. Those were the kings of all the decks. You will see that although there is a purpose in the game that I'll say later, there's the other purpose of having someone interpret them, and then it's anyone with Vistani blood. It can be found on those pages. Card number 1 we've drawn is the Illusionist, which on page 44 says, lies and deceit, grand conspiracies, secret societies, and the presence of a dupe or saboteur. There are multiple NPCs you could have a Vistani NPC like Esmeralda point out with that. Most obviously Fiona Wachter. Esmeralda would probably be best represented by that shepherd that I just showed there, which the book says, those who protect others, one who bears a burden too far to be shouldered alone. Good way of getting a suspicious party to align with a NPC. It's almost like a free divination. Now onto the method by which most people will communicate with the deck, and for this I will pass over to Madam Eva and provide an explanation afterwards. Welcome to Madam Eva's. Now, this card tells of history. Knowledge of the ancient will help you better understand your enemy. There is a town where all is not well. There you will find a house of corruption, and within, a dark room full of still ghosts. This card tells of a powerful force for good and protection, a holy symbol of great hope. I see a dark room full of bottles. It is the tomb of a guild member. This card is a card of power and strength. It tells of a weapon of vengeance, a sword of sunlight. What you seek lies in a pile of treasure beyond a set of amber doors. So, now we have the selection that is from the low deck that just relies on locations around Barovia. We pick from the high deck. This card sheds light on one who will help you greatly in the battle against darkness. Look for a dusk elf living amongst the Vistani. He has suffered great loss and is haunted by dark dreams. Help him, and he will help you in return. Your enemy is a creature of darkness, whose powers are beyond mortality. This card will lead you to him. He haunts the tomb of the man he envied above all. Right, well, thanks Eva. The position indicates which artifact, and it's important to have a record of that. I have a document myself that I'm quite fond of. I've popped it up on my wall to remind me what my current Curse of Strahd team are after. Having amazing fun with them. The first card I drew was for the Tome of Strahd, which might need a buff. If you've ever read a think piece about that, I enjoy it as a reference to I, Strahd, which is a fantastic little novel. I might be biased, I do love Strahd. The second is for the Holy Symbol of Ravenkind, the third for the Stun Sword, and then like I said, we switched decks and it's Strahd's enemy and Strahd's location in Castle Ravenloft. So, that said, what did all that mean? Well, the Torturer, the 9 of glyphs that I raised first, that means that the Tome of Strahd is in the Burgomeister's mansion in Vallaki, the town of political intrigue and police state and all that kind of thing. So you're already sending your party away from the first town, which I think is a good thing in general. I already think there's a lot going on in Vallaki, but up to you. The draw is the draw. I did a completely random Eva draw there. I may encourage you to stack the deck just so all of the fantastic locations across the book are seen. I do have slight issue with the second pick of the the holy symbol of Ravenkind, being in Castle Ravenloft itself. That is what the guild member 5 of coins meant. It is in one of the pun names of the tombs of Ravenloft, Svilovich. I think a lot of Dungeon Masters will agree that backtracking to and from Castle Ravenloft ruins the climactic aura. It's a different thing to be invited to dinner by Strahd, because that's a completely different gameplay mechanic, but it's another thing altogether to traipse through looking for devices to defeat the Dark Master of Ravenloft. I probably wouldn't want this draw, but it could be exciting. Maybe a party that's already been through once, perhaps. Now, the Bishop, which means that it's in the Amber Temple in the mountains, that's pretty cool. I like the Sunsword being somewhere climactic, somewhere that's high level. It also has, you can easily draw lore significance about Rahadin or the Dark Powers themselves. I'm really into that call. That would probably be something I'd fudge the deck for, either this or the Hooded One card. The Hooded One is a bit more mysterious. I don't know if I so much like foreshadowing the Amber, but as a DM, that's your prerogative anyway. Moving on to the high deck, we got the Dusk Elves, Casmeria. I never know if I'm saying that right. I've never watched Chris Perkins say it, so I'll have to find that out. He's fine. He's not my favourite. My favourite is Basilica, because I have watched Nightmare Before Christmas too many times. And then for Strahd's location, Weeping at the Tomb of Sergei is what the Broken One means, and I'm into that as well. It's good to either have him at the pinnacle of the castle or the very lowest depths of the castle. Just, again, so they don't have to backtrack and traipse, and they know when the final fight is coming, that they know where to head. Right, well, this was my brief look at the Tarroka deck. I mostly did it because I have new video editing software, and a friend of mine asked me to explain the Tarroka deck, and it got a bit out of control. But thank you very much if you ended up watching this, and he is the Ancient, he is the land, he is Strahd.